Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another Accessibility Talks. We're glad that you could join us for our monthly virtual meetup on accessibility, inclusivity, and usability. It's a space where we learn from guest speakers and connect as a community. I'm your host, Mark Casillas. I am a developer for interpersonal frequency, and for a visual description, I'm a Hispanic male wearing a yellow Alley Cats shirt. Yay. Before we get started, I wanted to do a quick reminder that A11yTalks is dedicated to maintaining a safe and welcoming environment. We ask everyone joining us today, speakers and attendees alike, to follow our code of conduct in the chat during the discussions. You can find the full version of our code of conduct on the website. That's A11yTalks.com, A11yTalks.com /conduct. Our goal is to ensure a respectful, open space for open dialogue and learning. We also want to take a moment to thank all the partners who make A11yTalks possible. It's a special thank you for our bronze supporter Principal Finance Group. We also want to recognize the Alley Cat Club members, which you see listed here. Every contribution helps us keep this community growing, our content free, and talks accessible to everybody. If you'd like to support A11yTalks as a sponsor or as a Alley Cat Club member, you can please visit our website to learn more. Your contribution goes directly towards compensating speakers and improving our events. You can also double your impact through corporate matching programs like Benevity. All you have to do is search for us under A11yTalks by Midwest Open Source Alliance. If you have questions for the speaker, here's how you ask. If you're watching the live premiere on YouTube right now, you can ask the questions in the live chat. If you're not watching live, you can leave comment on the YouTube video or continue the conversation in LinkedIn or other social media channels. Today, we are going to be talking about inclusive art gallery with our guest, Enrico Bisenzi. Before we start, welcome, Enrico. Thanks for joining us all the way from Italy, correct?
Yes. Thank you very much to inviting me. I am from Italy. I'm a European old guy with few and white hair and wearing black glasses and a t-shirt.
Beautiful. And we're going to be talking about Inclusive Art Gallery, which is a project that you started.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I am involved in this not very personal project, as it is an educational project where I involve a lot of former students of the Academy of Fine Arts of Rome, where I teach brand design, layout, lettering, and web design. And I always propose to my students a focus on inclusive design. So making typeface, inclusive design making websites, inclusive design making layout, brand, and so on. And the students of the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome are very interested in this kind of topic, really. And as I have taught for 30 years around Italy and around also other academies of fine arts, just a few years ago, I planned to set up a sort of virtual gallery to collect the inclusive design solutions of all the people that I have met during my activity, and so now there are a lot of in some way artworks that you can see in the Inclusive Arts Gallery, where the topics faced are divided in different main topics. So, for example, mentative alternative communication and silent communication, self-confident about personal neurological or other kinds of health problems, web design, digital interfaces design, and print products for packaging and graphic design, and graphic design products for museums, and solutions for blind color people, solutions for blind people, for deaf people, and so on. I decided to follow this particular research path when an old friend of mine, Tommaso Tozzi, began to propose a very particular kind of art. Within the well-known net art field, he proposed a lot of years ago, in the 80s, a sort of hacker art. So, how to use net art to connect people, each other, with the social with the social purposes. So to improve the life and the social organization of our society. And so I was thinking after this research of Tommaso, but if there is an art that can be oriented to connect people, each other, in a better way, and also trying to get better social conditions for anyone, why not planning a new way of art to improve the communication for people with disabilities, that I prefer to name people with special characters. And so the first student that has answered to this question was Alessandro Carducci, that has carried out a very interesting research about accessible video games. He also made an accessible video game named Web Devil Reverse Core, and implementing a lot of solutions for many kinds of disabilities or special characters. For example, for blind people, for deaf people, for people that have difficulties to use the mouse, to see the colors in the same way the majority of people see colors. And so he, many years ago, when he was a student of mine at the Academy of Fine Arts of Carrara, that is in Tuscany, a very famous Academy of Fine Arts for marble monuments in Tuscany. He, for the first time, he was the first student of mine that made a very good research on this topic with the practical solutions and with practical products. Then a very good student of ISIA Firenze, that is a kind of Academy of Fine Arts, but for industrial products. Her name is Francesca Arfilli, a very skilled student, made a research about how to make a graphic design product to teach to little kids that are blind color, so have difficulties to recognize the colors in the educational products. She made a very good research, and these are the preview of her work, and of course, in the inclusive arts gallery that you can find very easily searching in any kind of artificial intelligence or search engines with the query inclusive arts gallery, you can find a brief description of all these artworks. For me are artworks, inclusive artworks, and of course link to get more information about their works. Then there was another student of mine, Ivan Legnaioli, very good student, that has developed a very particular project that was a kind of webtoon, like the ones that was designed for the first time in south of Korea. And he developed a new kind of webtoon where the blind people could find a lot of effective solutions to understand, but also appreciate toons and, of course, graphic novel. His solution was named Yux Comics, and it is based on a design idea that if you scroll a story so that you go if you scroll a story with the mouse or also with the keyboard, you can see some movements of the subject or of the environment, and these movements are quite properly translated for blind people, of course, by means of alternative text solutions. Then I have played then another very young student on several years ago. She's a student of the Academy of Fine Arts of Rome, has developed a very interesting, Patricia Scorici, has developed a very interesting mind, brainstorming on how the time can be used to develop a digital layout, a digital device, always trying to find solutions, good solutions for people with disabilities. And her thinking about the use of time, progetta per tempo in Italian, that is design with time, design with the timing in some way. It was a very one of the first of the first thinking about how to take into consideration time within an inclusive design project. Then also me, Enrico Bisenzi, after following several research projects of my students, I have tried to think a new kind of inclusive storytelling, a very strange one in some way. So I go around among the streets or during an event with a hidden microphone connected to my transcriptor devices, that is a simple accessibility function of my Android smartphone, and I transcript everything that I can hear. That is, in some way, a kind of storytelling that a blind guy can experience while walking around a town, or he or she is among the people as she can't see, but he can hear. And so the what what you can hear is transcribed by the transcriptor device and became some kinds of storytelling that I have named shade storytelling, as people don't know that I record them, but it's in some way it is not a privacy infringement because I don't record their voice, but only their words. And of course, I delete some specific reference to personal lifestyle when it succeed to be transcribed by my software of transcription. Then always getting near to our ears, Matteo Cascapera, that his artistic name is Matthew Pierre, has carried out a wonderful graphic novel, a sort of coming out because it is the history of his family, where there is two brothers that are in the autism spectrum, and so especially one of them has several cognitive problems and behavior problems, and so there is this wonderful storytelling of Matteo about his family, about his relationship with these two autistic brothers. And it is a special book that has taught to us a lot about autism, much, much better than scientific handbook. Sure. Then there is a product by a graphic design product by Erika Rapiti, another student of the Academy of Fine Arts of Rome, that has made a very, very, in some way, dreaming, romantic storytelling using the silent communication. So a silent book. A silent book on about the history of a flower that has a particular look. So it is in some way body shamed by the other flowers. So it is a story about inclusion. And it is also a story about inclusion carried out by a technique of inclusive communication, as silent communication and silent book can be easily understood by people that do not understand the writing or the reading of a language, but only the illustration and also only what we named in Italian language onomatopee. So the representation of sounds, like in this case, in this example, the representation, the typography representation of a laugh. Now, here's a very important work carried out by Veronica Bonatesta, another student of the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome, where she remember us also with some example of her graphic solutions on the importance of creative caption. So caption are very important for deaf people, of course, but they can be an obstacle, a problem. For example, for people with a cognitive disability, or for example, for a little child that want to see some kind of creative and joyful solutions. So creative caption was faced by Veronica Bonatesta, also by some practical application using SpongeBob, famous SpongeBob tune. And she remember us how can be important creative caption for many kind of personas, and also for any of us, because creative caption let us appreciate a movie or a cartoon without lacking attention on the focus of the action, and that's very important. Many movies use creative caption not only for accessibility features, but also for better creative solutions. Then this is the time of Aurora Pavesi. Aurora Pavesi is a deaf student of the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome, and she has proposed a lot of technological solutions to support deaf people in the common lifestyle. So taking the bus, taking the metro, whatever you can think about lifestyle, Aurora Pavesi has proposed a lot of technological solutions that are useful for people that can't hear, so for deaf people. Then I don't remember, but we're going to see together. This is a wonderful work. This is a wonderful work of Francesca Massaioli, because she took into consideration the special needs of people that can't use the mouse because of problems with the hands. And she has written a very, very interesting theoretical book on this item, but she has also written a very, very important proposal, practical proposal for digital layout to learn how to design button and other kind of interactions useful for people that have some kind of problems moving the hands. And that's very important. It was a very, very good work because nobody in Italy, I think in other countries, I'm sure there are some similar handbooks, but in Italy there is not something similar to this work. And one of the better thing that I appreciate of the Inclusive Arts Gallery that these young fellows, these young girls, boys, these young guys have a lot of ideas, very, very important and can in some way can be compared to professional ones that have been developed in these years by professional designers. They are actually studying, but they have a lot of good ideas just before completing their studies, and that's very important. Then this is the time of Giuseppina Di Battista that has developed a table game to understand the Italian sign languages. So the Italian sign languages, as all the sign languages, are not very easy to understand. And she has carried out a table game to help young people, kids, to understand the Italian sign languages. A very, very good idea. Then this is a work talking about blind people. Blind people, there are a lot among males. There are very few among females, sure you know, but there are a lot among males. So, Giulia Scrigna has written a very interesting book named 8% Colors to remember that the 8% of male people have a different interpretation, a different way to understand colors from the common one in some way. Then there is the time, a very good work, also this one, Lorenzo Marchionne. Lorenzo Marchionne has interviewed the manager of the Archaeological Museum of Sezze, where she lives, to understand how to develop accessible solutions so that when people with the special needs go to the Archaeological Museum of Seze, and they can find tactical solution, braille solution, audio description, and sign language videos, augmentative alternative communication solutions, and so on. It is a practical handbook to make the Archaeological Museum of Setse inclusive under different point of views. Then there is the time of Jessica Rosati. Jessica Rosati has made a prototype, a digital prototype, also providing some kind of artificial intelligence solutions. For whom? For all the women that has very serious health problems, and so they want to connect each other, help each other, understand better, understand in a better way which kind of health problems they have, and so digital support for people that are in a difficult moment. And also this is inclusivity from my personal point of view. Giulia Madeo has faced a very strategical matter because she has taken into consideration the need of packaging that can be easily understood by blind people, by colored people, low vision people, and so on. And so a packaging that must not be difficult to understand, especially the packaging related to food and beverage products, and to turn them in accessible ones. Then, in most recent times, we have another silent book, very interesting. So another time, silent communication, made by another girl studying at the Academy of Fine Arts, that is Silvia Fravilli, and she has made another example of silent book that can be used to teach to kids how to live in our society, understanding how it is important to help each other and to respect each other. Then there is Alessandro Mezzani, that has developed a specific content management system named Arco Content Management System, that has a lot of inclusive solutions. It is not a kind of accessibility widget. We don't love accessibility widget, but it is a link to a special translation of the websites using specific different cascading style sheets solutions, so that you can find alternative text, you can find alternative audio and video product, you can find proper contrast color, and so on. Arco Content Management System. A very good idea that should be implemented by many other content management systems and not using widgets that are a problem for accessibilities, as many blind people knows. Then there is the time of I don't remember the name in a precise way. Manuela Scarpetta. Manuela Scarpetta is similar to Jessica Rosati, so it is a solution to support people that have quite hard health problems, and she has carried out table games so to let experience these people to understand if they can touch the thing in a proper way, if they can see in a proper way, and so on. So in some way, some kind of gamings monitoring the health degree, the health degree. Then there is the time of Chiara Protani. Chiara Protani has a very interesting proposal because it relates to augmentative alternative communication, but under a new point of view. So not cryptical iconic sign, but a sort of simplification of graphic design, simplification of graphic novels, simplification of tune, where you must learn to use a few text, contents, few colors with good contrast, few people and few elements. And so simplicity becomes the right key of designing a graphic novel or a webtoon by a new kind of augmentative alternative communications. Then there is a solution of my town, the municipality of Florence, that is named Florence Firenze in Rilievo, that means tactile Florence, where there is some QR code, some tactical illustrations, some braille communications, so that blind people can take into consideration to make a tour around Florence with the right information about Florence and the wonderful monuments that are hosted in Florence. Now we are near to the end of the Inclusive Arts Gallery. This guy is Gianluca Paoloni, another student of the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome. And he has made a very interesting book named Loading Diversity. Loading Diversity is a project facing how the video games play and faces differences. So sexual differences, disabled people, ethnic questions, and so on. And this is a very original book, Loading Diversity. The name is in English, but the Italian, but the textual content is in Italian, and you can download it. There are a lot of illustration made by Gianluca Paoloni facing the video games and their characters. The last one is by Carolina Trano. This is an illustration of herself. Carolina Trano has made a very interesting reasoning and has carried out a very interesting prototype, a digital prototype, so not a real application, but a prototype, but very interesting because as many people that under effort can have some neurological problems affecting their sight. And so if they are tired, they see the screen in a different way. How to help them? You can change typeface, you can change layout, you can change the colors, you can change the brightness, but a lot of solutions are faced in this prototype, and I think it is a very, very original idea because all of these students are not only very good students, but they carried out also original solutions to communicate with other people, to communicate with deaf people, blind colored people, people that have health problems, people that must visit a museum and have the right to visit in the right way, in the proper way, to buy some beverage or food and find a proper packaging solution, to use web design and app and in a proper way, and so on. So I'm very happy that so many students have decided, have agreed to expose their artworks in this inclusive arts gallery. And in the future, I hope that I'm going to expose some other different kind of inclusive design. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
All righty. Some very good stuff, some beautiful artwork, some very interesting approaches to that. Just have a few questions on this. First of all, if you could say this is a website that's available, or how do people interact with all these artists?
And you, in this website that is named Inclusive Arts Gallery, of course, there are links to their artworks, but also to their social communication account, and so you can you can communicate with them in a very easy way.
Excellent. We'll get those links and we'll post them either in the captions here or actually on the live links during the show. Are there other ways for people to get involved with your inclusive art gallery? How do people get their work included as well? And can that be done throughout the world?
How people can be included in this inclusive arts gallery? Do you mean?
Yes. Yes.
Just write to me, propose something that if it is different from the inclusive solution just exposed, I am very, very happy to show the new ones.
Wonderful. And once again, we'll get the links there, and so people can get a hold of you and get that included as well. One question that I had is, do you find that interactive galleries, like when you go to a museum or when you go look at art, do you find that the interactive galleries are more problematic for inclusivity or less problematic?
Interactive gallery are more problematic for many people. Sure, for autistic people, sure, for cognitive disabled people, sure, for people that can be harmed by lightning, so epileptic people. Interactive gallery are very problematic for me, but also the common gallery of museum are not quite accessible many times, as they have very, very few solutions like tactile or braille communication, alternative communications. And in Italy, the teacher like me involved in inclusive design are involved in a specific solutions that is named social storytelling. Social storytelling is how to communicate to people that are going to visit a museum, and so to explain them what kind of user experience are going to find, to meet. So, for example, if you have problems with the movement, there is the special parking for you in the front of the museum. If you are blind people, you must explain how the spaces are designed, and so all the solutions carried out with special panels for audio description, sign language videos, and so on. And there is a kind of little revolution in Italy to spread this kind of social storytelling for people with disabilities.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for showing us this great artwork and these students. Looking forward to digging in more and seeing more of their work. Thank you very much. If you want to continue this conversation, you can find us on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/company/A11yTalks. That's A11yTalks. And if you want to be a speaker, if you want to discuss some stuff with us, we're always looking for new voices in the community, especially from the marginalized groups in tech. Visit our speakers page to learn more, or reach out to us, either email team@alleytalks.com to start the conversation, or head over to Mastodon or to our LinkedIn page. And if you want to connect, you can always connect with us on LinkedIn. Here on our YouTube channel, where you're watching this wonderful presentation now, we have Blue Sky and Mastodon. And thank you so much, Enrico, for joining us. And we will see you all next month.